So we have created that particular specific layout, and then we want to implement a few background codings. Okay, so now we will look at that particular Java class, which is here, main activity.java. Okay, so first of all, let me go back into that particular specific button. I want to implement its click event. When I click on that particular button, it performs some actions. Of course, you can add 2 plus 4, 6 plus 7, or you can connect with the internet, you can download some file, you can change that particular image view file. In the image view, you want to change that particular image. Yes, you can do a lot of things, okay, whatever you want. So how we can implement? The simplest way, inside that particular button, we have a specific property. What is called property name is on click. So look at that, it is show me on click. If I click on that, it asks me a string input value, string value for that particular specifically Android colon on click event, on click attribute. It is asking me a value. That value will be the name of the method that is going to handle that click event. You can hear like my first click event. Again, whatever you want method, you know that when we talking about the method name, the first name is the first letter is small, and then the second, every word which come in that particular name, like my small mi, and then first f is capital, click for f is again capital, event is capital. So how we can create that particular? Two ways. Either you can just copy that particular name, go into that particular here, you make it public, it does not return me anything, and give the name of that particular method, and it will receive a view. View, V-I-E-W, view. That is actually the button. I mean, I copy that particular name, come into my file, and write down exactly the same. I mean, public void, it does not return me anything. The name of the method, which is exactly the same that we have given in that on click property, and it will receive a view. That view is actually represent that button that's coming as a input, because when your layout is being created in the system, actually a button class object is created, and that button class object is actually come into this particular method as an input. We can say something like that, button my btn is equal to view. But of course we need to convert that, we need to convert that into the, we need to do the typecasting. It is not going to work by default. Okay, and then we can simply say that my button dot txt set text, you can change that particular text. Button clicked. What is here right now? It say that toasting the click event test. Toasting the click event test. But I say that go and change that particular text which is showing up on the screen. That's what we are doing in that particular method. We are changing that particular text on the button. Why? We are saying that in that particular button, go and change that particular text. Let me run it. Cross our fingers, everything is working fine, huh? So if I click on that particular, like we have clicked on that particular button, look, the text in that particular button is changed. Understand? If I just try to reset it, okay, and then bring it back, again look at that, it show me that particular toasting click event test, and then when I click on that particular button again, change that particular text in this way. I mean, when we go into from the landscape portrait mode to the landscape mode and come back here, actually that original text is coming back. Why? We will talk about it later. That's more about the state of that, or the current status of that particular application screen or view. So that's something different. But this is the method which is going to handle, and it has a very specific, what you can say, that the header of the method. What is the access modifier? That's a public. It should not return me anything. Void, name of the method, and it must receive a view as an input. Actually, that view represent the actual view on your screen on which the interaction is happened. When we interact with the radio buttons, actually that view will represent the radio button. Now we are interacting with the button, so that view actually represent the button. And I have shown you that if you go and change the text in that particular button, actually it is changing the text of that particular button on which we have clicked. So that view, actually that parameter, that view input to this particular method actually represent the view or the widget or the GUI component with which the user has interacted. Is it clear? So what we want, we don't, like we can say that we have clicked and then we want to show a toast. We have a toast. What is a toast? I will show you a little soon. Dot make text. I want to make a text. It will receive few things. Number one, this. Number two, a message. This is actually the context in which that particular toast is going to appear. And then message, our first toast message. And then we say that toast dot how long you want to show that. Actually, it is a pop-up message which comes from the bottom of the screen and comes up, and how long it will stay there. You want to stay at a very short time, so we have two possible values, long or short. I said long, and then we can say that show. Here we are creating it. We are setting those properties that make text, context, what is the message, what is the how long that particular message will be displayed, and then at the end we are saying a dot show. So let me run that particular program again quickly, and you will see that what's happening over there. It will change first the text in that particular button, and it will also show a message. So look at that, at the bottom it is showing me a message, our first toast. Of course it will disappear. When I click on that again, it will again show me that message. So that's, I mean we are not doing any rocket science here. We are just saying that how we can handle those events. Is it clear? Any questions, any confusion till now? So this is the one way that you go and make that on click event, on click property, and give the name of that particular method. You can come into that particular, what you can say that this particular method, the Java code file, and then you say that create that particular method by yourself. I mean we have done it by ourselves. It can also be, I just try to copy the contents of that particular method and delete that particular method. Whenever I delete that method and go back again, look at that, that underlined with the that specific name of the method is being underlined with the red. So we have two different options. Look at that. Now it is also showing me that particular bulb sign on the left side, left corner at the big start of that line. If you click on that, it say that create that particular method in the main activity.java class. It will show me that option. Yeah. So if you click on that, it will automatically go and create that one. Or you can simply say that you come on that particular red underlined name of the method, press Alt and enter. Again, it will show you the same screen that we have just pop-up menu that will show you. And again, it show me those options. I want to create my first click event view as an input in the main activity Java class. When I select that option and enter, actually it will go and create that particular method inside my Java class. Whether do it yourself, if you can remember that it should be a public, it should represent, should not return me anything, public void, name of the method exactly the same that you have given in that particular specific property of the on-click property, and it will receive a view as an input. If you can remember, you can do it yourself. If it's not, then you can simply write Alt Enter on that particular red underlined method name, and it will ask you the pop-up menu. In the pop-up menu, you have the option that create that method in our Java class. You can do that, whatever you like. So again, I just copied my previous implementation of that click event. I just copy paste it here, and then if I try to run the same program again in my thing, it will do the same thing that we have already seen it. Okay, when I click on that, that particular text is going to be changed, and it will also show me that particular small toast message. Clear? Okay, so this is the one way to implement the click event. We have a lot of other events which exist, like when the focus come on that particular specific button, you want to show a small message that this particular button is for this particular purpose, you can do that. When it get focused, when it leave the focus, you want to perform certain things. When you want to make the things more interactive, more responding at each and every event of that particular user, it is going to respond. So we have a lot of events, but of course there are few which we can implement according to that particular specific on-click event, but not all the other events we can implement. Number one thing. Is it clear? So now, how we can, again, when we come back to my XML file, now look at that red underline gone away, because now everything is set. There's no compilation error, there is no problem in that particular. We have a specific name. We can assign a name to those particular views, and we call them ID. And that's again a property in the XML layout. ID. When I just press ID, it will show me the option. I select, and then again it is saying that add the rate of plus ID. Yes, again select. What is it? I will show you just a minute. This is, I say that my first button click events. I'm just giving a very long name, and I just copy this particular name of that one. And when I say that this is, I can go into my activity class, which actually represent my screen, one screen layout and everything. So here I create a button object, button, and this is the method, on create method. Remember I told you that whenever you are creating a new activity, inside the on create method, that is kind of a constructor of your class in which you can initialize certain values. So we have declared that particular button, and we want to initialize that particular value here. So we can say that button is equal to. Now we need to find that particular specific button which exists in our layout screen. Okay, so we can say that find by view ID. That's why we have given that particular ID or name to that particular button. So we say that view ID, and then we say that R, capital R, not small. Okay, capital R dot ID. We have that ID, and then dot we give the my first button, like it show me that particular name. If we look at that particular name, it say that my first button click event equal to -11000025, and that is actually an integer value. What is that? And then we put the semicolon, and now we can add like button dot set text. Again, we are changing the text on that particular button, and now I am giving some different number like on create method text, just to show you that when it is all automatically being created, instead of having that particular toast on click, the text that we have shown on that particular button, it will automatically change, and it will not show you the original one. It's okay. Why? No, I don't want to start a new one. Stop it, please. Don't waste my time. So we already have this one, so we can simply say that this, and this is the thing that we want to start. It's already running. We don't need to run a new one. Okay. So look at that, on create method text. Understand? It is not showing me the text message which actually is here. Here we are saying a toasting click event text. Okay, it changed. It is not showing me that one, which we have defined or designed inside our layout file. It show me the text which we have changed inside the on create method. So now what actually we have done here, so we say that we have a button, we create a button object, and that button object is actually, we connect that particular object of the button class with the button that actually exists in our user interface or the graphical layout. We connect with them, and once they are connected, using that particular object, we can do a lot of things, changing their text, changing their background color, changing their text size, and blah blah blah. So we can do a lot of things like button dot set text character, or the set enabled. I mean, enabled mean, okay, set enabled. If I say false, then that button will not be enabled. It means that we cannot click on it. Okay, let's do it because it is connected now, so we can do a lot of things with that particular button, whatever we can do. Look, it is still there, it is visible, but it is disabled. It is not enabled. It means that we cannot click on that. Understand? So we connected this particular object of the button type in our Java code with the button which actually exists in our screen layout, and once we are connected, we can do a lot of things with that. On the click event, false, of course we don't want to make that particular false here, so we can also have button dot on click listener, set on click listener. I mean, we have said that on click is equal to that specific name of the method. That is the one way to implement that particular click event. But we also have the other way that we can come, like we have initialized that particular button. Okay, we connect that particular button with our button which actually exists in the screen layout in that particular specific line, and then we are changing the text on that particular button, and then here we can simply say that on click, set on click listener, and then we say that new, not capital new, small new on click listener. So look at view dot on click listener. When we click on that, I mean, it is coming over there on click listener, and when we enter, actually it created the same method, public. It's a public method. It does not run anything, the name of the method, and it will receive a view as an input. And then if we give the same information here in this particular method, or we can call this particular method my first method and we pass that particular view as an input to this one, it will call this particular method. I go back and change that particular property. I say that there does not exist any property. There does not exist any property of the on click in my. So now again, if I just go back, run this application, it will do the same thing for me, but in a different way to implement the click event. Okay, so if I click on that particular method, this button, so look again, it is doing the same thing because we have called the same method in that event as well. So you can have, so this is another way to implement the click event. It's a little bit complicated as compared to the other one, very simple. Okay, but here this method will provide you a lot of things. It's not only the click event that you need to implement, you can implement other things as well. Button dot on, so we can say that, or set on, set enable, set text. Okay, we have a lot of other, I mean, here in the button normally we have only the click event, but when we talk about the what we can say that the edit texts or the texts, so when they get the focus, you want to perform certain things. When they leave the focus, you can check that user has given some values in it or not. Okay, so you can implement those things in that, because they, for those kind of events we don't have the properties in the XML file which you can set. Okay, so these are the two different ways or three different ways you can say that, mainly two. You can say that set on click property, name of the method, create that method in the Java file, or you can create a button, connect that particular button with the GUI component, and then you can click or set on click listener to handle the click event. So whatever you want to do, it's totally up to you. Okay, now we come to our radio buttons. What we want to achieve, that whenever we say that by default we are showing this particular image, that is Charizard. So first of all, what we can come into that particular specific radio button which actually showing the name of the Charizard. Is it so? Yeah, it is the Charizard. And then we say that what is the property? Checked. Yeah, checked, and we say that true. It means that whenever your application is going to run, it will show that this specific name is already checked, because that is the image that you already showing up over there. And whenever we select the other one, like it's show me, okay, it's, there is something visually, but anyway, it's Charizard is select. But we want that when we say select this one, it show me a different one. Again, look at that, Charizard is still checked. So that's we need to handle. How we can handle, I will show you. Okay, so whenever we select a different, it will change that specific image that is being shown. If I say Bulbasaur, it changed that particular image with the Bulbasaur image. If I say Charmander, it changed that particular image with the Charmander. When I say that Blastoise, and then it will change. So whenever we click on that specific Android button, then we want to change that specific property. Now if, I mean, it should not be the case, but we are saying that it is true, so it does not change that specific property later on when we check the other one. So what we can do, we can say the ID, we need to assign an ID. If we want to access that specific Charizard button, we need to assign an ID. Remember that thing. So we assign an ID, and then again, that add the rate of plus ID, don't think about it, just say I want to add, then enter it, and then after that add the rate of plus ID slash, you give the name. Like this is the default RB. RB means it's a radio button, default radio button. We go into our method. Again, we say that I want to create a radio button object, RB default, and then again we come down here and then say that RB default is equal to find view by ID, and then we have just R dot ID dot, what was the name? RB, not RB, dot default, yeah, default RB, that is default radio button, and then we can say that RB default dot set checked, set that particular checked property, and we say that I want to make it true. Okay, if I try to run this particular thing right now and see what is happening over there. So it comes up, now Charizard is already selected. When I click on something else, automatically it is making that particular Charizard unchecked. Okay, okay, we solve that specific problem. It is not necessary that specific problem comes with every, sometime it does not. Because that checked mean, because we have grouped them together, even we are giving the property checked, in the beginning we want it to check, but it should not be checked later on when we are checking the other one. Okay, when we are selecting the other radio button, it should not be, but as we have seen that yes, it is there. So to solve that particular problem, we check it, this specific Charizard, using the program. Programmatically we checked it at the onCreate method, and later on that problem. So now we are, our user interface is quite stable, but we want to change that particular image. So if we want to change that particular image, what we need, what we want to access that particular image view and change the source, image source. How we can access? Again, if we want to access that particular image view in our program, we have to assign an ID. Again, select the ID, add the rate of plus ID slash, press enter and give the name. Like we say that my image. And again go back into our program, Java code, and again create an image view object, image view variable, a variable of the image view class type. Image view, my, or these are the Pokemon image. This is what we call them, Pokemon. So again, because we have created that particular image view object or image view variable, we need to connect that particular image view with our image view which actually exists in our graphical layout or the screen layout. So again we say that Pokemon image is equal to find by view ID r dot id dot, or my image, yeah, my image. It will show you. Again, all these values are actually the integer values. And now we can simply say that Pokemon dot set image resource r dot, again r, that's a resource, and now we say drawable, not the ID, drawable dot, again look at that, it will show me all those things. It's a Blastoise, it's a Bulbasaur, it's a butterfly, it's a Charizard, or whatever. Understand? So if we can change, like I say that I want to show that var total, I just show you that it will actually change that particular, it is not the exact behavior that we want to implement in our application, but I will show you that if I change that particular image source, automatically it will go and change that particular on the onCreate method. Look at that, it show me a different image this time. Okay, but that's what we don't want to do here. Okay, right now we just want to connect it. Now what is that particular specifically r.id or r.drawable? If I go back into my project, change that particular project from the into the project. Okay, I'm going to change that particular view from Android to the project, and then inside the app, inside the build, we say that generated source, and then we have that particular R folder over there. Go, I mean, first of all, from Android, change the view to the project. Inside the project view, you have app. Inside the app, we have build folder. Inside the app build, we have a generated folder. And inside the generated folder, we have the source. And inside the source, we have the R. If we open that one, and if we look at that thing, actually it is the same. If we look at that one, that is the package name. Look at that, this same package name. And we have that R class. If we click on that, it will open that particular R for me. If we look at that, inside this class, we have a few. It's a class which also has the nested classes, like we have animations, we have the attributes, we have the public int, that again a class where we have attributes, all the attributes that you have set in that particular action underscore size and blah 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 blah. But what we are interested in the class ID. You know, that ID that we are giving to all those different components and views which exist in our graphical user interface. So we are giving them some names. So if we look at that, what was the name? Okay, let me go and select that particular name, like this one. I control C, come to my R, and I try to find that particular name here. Look, my image. It is actually assigned that particular name that we have given in our layout file a unique integer value. We don't need to worry about it. It's automatically handled by the Android Studio or Android system itself. So we don't need to worry about why we need to assign that one. So actually, all the resources which exist in our application, whether they are the name of some widget, whether they are the name of some image resource, whether the name of some other resources which exist in our project by default, so they all are given the unique ID value, unique integer value assigned. And here in this R class, we are assigning them. We have that particular specific ID class which is nested inside the R class, and then that's why we say that R, capital R, dot ID dot the name of the class, because we can remember the name. We can't remember those integer values. -1 1 0 0 5 5 6. What is that? It was my button, or it was my text view, or it was my radio button. I don't know. So we can easily remember those names that we have assigned. So we can only look at those names and automatically add the background in the background that actually being that name is being assigned a specific integer value, unique integer value by default. And similarly, we also have the class drawable. Not this one. Class drawable. Look, we also have that drawable class. And here we can find a lot of things, but we can also find our like Blastoise, Bulbasaur, Butterfree, Charizard, Charmander. So these are the images that we have introduced, we have added in our drawable folder. So those names are also being assigned a unique value. So that's why whenever we want to access that specifically image resource, we say that R, capital R, dot drawable, dot the name of the file. And actually it is automatically assigned a unique integer value. Look, Bulbasaur, Blastoise, Bulbasaur, Butterfree, Charizard, Charmander, and there are a few other as well. War Total, yeah, they exist. Again, we have the ID class, we have the drawable class, all the resources. Even we have the layout. We also have that one. If I say that Control F, and then I go and say that class layout. Yeah, look at that. Its layout class also exists. The file that we have created here in our layout folder, it also has been here. Like, what was the name is here? I think activity underscore main. Yeah, look at that. Activity underscore main. The layout file that we have created, which actually is a XML file where we are defining all those layout files, actually been assigned a unique integer value. And actually this is what we are using here in our main activity. Set that content view. For that particular one screen, for that particular one activity, the layout will come from that particular r dot layout dot activity underscore main. That's again a file. I mean, if I change, I create a new layout file and change that value, it will show me a different layout, not this one. Okay, so that is what is meant by this r.id.drawable.layout and stuff, blah blah blah. That is the r resources. R mean resources, and inside we have the nested classes, which are actually we can use to access those different resources. It is automatically maintained by the Android Studio, Android system, so we don't need to worry about it. We just need to concentrate on what we need to provide assign an ID to the views which exist in our layouts, and if we want to connect our program, we want to change them in our program, then we need to create a same type of object in our Java code file, connect it with our layout component, and then we can do whatever we want. That we have done with our button. We have a radio button and then the Pokemon image. Is it clear till now? Now what we want that whenever we click on any of these radio buttons, this image change accordingly. That is what we want. Okay, so we come into those particular radio buttons, and then again we click on the on click property whenever we are going to click on that. So we can give the name, like we can say that Pokemon change image. Okay, we can implement multiple, like we can say that when I click on this one, you have a Pokemon change. Maybe we can say that Bulbasaur change image or Bulbasaur RB, and then for the second one we can say that Charmander. Let me implement this. Like we can say that I control C it here, and then here I can say that Bulbasaur RB, and then when I press Alt Enter, it will show me. You want to create that particular Bulbasaur method inside the main activity? Yes, I said that yes, I want to do that. And what we want, because we have defined this particular specific Pokemon image variable as a global variable, of course we can access. We have initialized that image view with this particular specific initialize connect with the GUI layout component, and then here we can simply say that Pokemon image dot set image resource, and because it's a Bulbasaur, so we said r dot drawable dot Bulbasaur. So when we click on that, automatically it will change, and we can go and also implement the same thing for the other one as well. Like this one is the Charmander, so we said it on click, we can say that Charmander RB, and then again press Alt Enter on that, create that particular method. I copy this particular specific image here, but change that particular image. So it's a Charmander, not Charizard, Charmander. So I mean we can implement like that. I will just show you this thing, but it's not a very nice way to implement all those. I mean we have 6, so if we want to make 8, make 10, so we all the time implementing the new methods for that. Okay, so if I click on that, it is changing. If I click on Charmander, it is changing because we have only 2 methods implemented. If I click on Charizard, it is not going to change, or any other, because we have implemented only with this one, so it is going to change. Fine, but this is not a nice way or very good logic that if we have a 6 radio buttons, we implement 6 methods. Am I right? It's not a very nice logic to implement those things. So what we can do here, we can say that instead of having this thing, we say that Pokemon RB. Okay, and then I am using the same method for all the methods, all the on-click event for these radio buttons. Pokemon RB, and then here again we can say that on click we can send Pokemon RB. I have just copied it and I will paste them everywhere. Okay, so on click and then we say Pokemon RB, and then we can say that here as well, on click Pokemon RB, and then we can also set that on click and Pokemon RB. So we are calling the same method 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All the 6 buttons calling the same method. And of course, this method does not exist in our program, in our Java code files. So if I press Alt Enter, it asks me to create that particular method in the main activity. Yes, I want to create. Our previous methods are already there. Okay. Now, inside this view dot get ID, that particular view which is coming as an input, we know that whichever radio button we are put it will get me the ID. Based on that particular ID, we can decide that which specific radio button is being clicked. But before we can do that, we need to assign the IDs to all of these radio buttons, yes or no? So we go and I assign the IDs. So we can say that this is our Bulbasaur, not add the date of ID slash this one, and then you said Bulbasaur RB. It's a radio button, so we say RB. Bulbasaur RB. Again, for the this one, we can say that it's ID. Again, we say that Charmander RB. Okay, so we are trying to give them the ID so that based on that ID we can decide which specific radio button is being clicked. ID, yep, what's happening over there? ID, where's my ID? Okay, we have already assigned that particular ID to this one. So instead of saying default, we say that it's a Charizard. Charizard, okay. Charizard RB, and similarly here this one is the war total. So we say ID, and then we say war total RB, and then similarly this one is the ID, and then here is the name is Blastoise RB. Okay, and then we can say that ID, and then this is a Butterfree RB. So based on that particular, I mean, you know that when I assign the ID, automatically that specifically ID being assigned a unique integer value in the R class. In the subclass we have the ID, and inside they have been assigned a unique integer value. Unique integer value, remember that thing. Okay, so because they have been assigned the unique integer value, so what we want to do, we want to make a switch. Remember switch on what? View dot get ID. Whatever that ID is, we apply a switch and we say that case R dot ID dot Bulbasaur. If that ID is actually equal to this Bulbasaur, then we can simply set that particular image to this one, and of course we need to put a break, you know that, the class. Okay, so I just copy paste this thing, and then here I can change it to that. What is the second one? Charmander RB, and then of course we need to go and say that dot Charmander, change that image source as well. Again copy paste. The third one was Charizard, so we can say that Charizard RB. Okay, and then here we need to change Charizard, the image source as well. Again, what was the fourth one? Fourth one is the war total. So we say war total RB, and also change that particular image view, war total. Again copy paste. Copy paste is always very handy. Sometimes it's become difficult. But anyway, so we have after the var total we have the blastwise. Blastwise RB, that is the name of that ID of that R radio button, and then we have the blastwise dot R dot drawable dot blastwise, that will be the image source. Okay, and then we can have that one. For example, the last one is the butterfree. So you say that butterfree radio button, that will be the switch case for that one, and then we also have the butterfree image resource. So now we are calling with all the radio buttons, we are calling the same method, and based on the ID of each radio button, we are performing different actions. We are setting different image source on that particular image view. Is it clear? And of course, we need to put a break after every case. If you don't put a break, you know what's going on. That's the programming concept. So now if we try to run that particular application, again, cross our finger, everything was fine. Okay, where is my application? It's coming up soon. Okay, it's saying me something. There's a one problem. What is the problem here? Scan to get the full insight. Okay, let me see. Build failed, exception, wrong execution, compilation failed. Okay, this whenever you see something like this, debug Java C meant we are unable to compile that particular program. So it must be some problem with your code, Java code here. Now the problem is what it is. We are putting a switch on that get ID. Okay, maybe I see that int. No, it should not be an ID is equal to view dot get ID, and then on that particular ID we put a switch. I don't think so. That should not be the case. But let me see if I'm missing something. We are putting the semicolon is all there. Image dot set source, that is the case. Break is there. Everything it should be. What is the problem? Yeah, it is. Show me. Yes, here. Remember, we changed that particular name, default RB. Okay, so actually we are saying that the ID dot, actually it was a Charizard RB. Here was the problem, because we changed the name of the ID, the default one which is being checked. Okay, so that is the reason. So we can run it again, cross our finger, everything will go fine. And quickly, that's also important. Bingo. So we have Charizard. If we click on the Charmander, it shows me a different, of course, Charmander image. Bulbasaur, if I go to the var total or the Blastoise or the butterfly, okay, so everything seems to be working. Var total, Blastoise or Butterfree. If we click on that event, again, that's performing what we want to do it. So that is the end of our demo today.